Well, greetings, people of the internet. Unky Joe here, Unky Joe's Playhouse. Today, we're going to cover a subject I've been putting off for quite a while because I wasn't clear on its current status. So I know how you love it when I speak in riddles. I'm speaking of DriveBender, okay? A DriveBender is a nice little program that takes a bunch of drives that you have. Say you have 4 or 5 mismatched drives. You have a 2 terabyte, a 4 terabyte, a 6 terabyte. You can put all these drives together into one pooled drive. Now, there's no redundancy when you do this, but let me clarify that. You put all these drives in a pool and you get all, so if you have a 4 terabyte and a 2 terabyte, you get 6 terabytes of storage. If you have 2 4 terabytes and a 2 terabyte, you get 10 terabytes of storage. You get the idea. And it doesn't care what speed drive you put in there, any of that. So that's what I've run for years, and I came across this program. The people who wrote it, or the guy who wrote it, was very nice, very pleasant. The other thing DriveBender allowed you to do is to, normally you would, for redundancy, you would mirror a drive. Now keep in mind, I don't use DriveBender for critical data. I use DriveBender only for archival data, or data that I really don't care if it gets lost. You know what I'm saying? I know that sounds crazy. You don't care if your archival backup gets lost? No, because I got more than one of them and I got an offsite backup, so I'm covered. But it's nice to have that on nearline storage so it's available to you. So that's what I use DriveBender for. In fact, I use DriveBender on quite a few of my servers around here. And it was sad news the other day, well, not the other day, but a few months ago, when DriveBender announced the company that had bought them, I guess initially, didn't want them anymore. And DriveBender was up for sale and that he wasn't going to support it anymore. Now, to the guy's credit, he did give us Windows 11 and Windows Server 2022 support, and he kept the license server up so we can enable and disable our licenses, those of us that have bought them, as time goes on. But you know, that's not going to be there forever. And that, my friends, is where a different product comes in. And I've been researching this product for a few months. So initially when I made this decision to go with DriveBender over StableBit Drive Pool, which is another drive pooling software. All these softwares I'm talking about are not free. So that's what you're looking for. I'm sorry, you came to the wrong place. But the thing that took me to DriveBender away from DrivePool was the fact that DriveBender had a nice little graphical interface. It also had monitoring of the hard drive to let you know when the drive was going bad. You can see how long the drive's been running, that kind of stuff. I'm a statistics freak, so that's right up my alley. StableBit Drive Pool did not have that. It had that as an add-on package, and I thought, well, same amount of money, I'm going to go with DriveBender. So I did. But now I've spent some time with StableBit Drive Pool. They've been around a while. I don't see them going anywhere. I asked them initially, now keep in mind this video has not been sponsored by anybody, either DriveBender or StableBit Drive Pool. So these are my own opinions on the product. But I did reach out to the folks at StableBit and told them, hey, I'm going to do an evaluation. Can you please extend my trial out to 90 days? And then after 90 days, if I'm happy with your software, I'll buy it. I'll buy a 10 user version of it, or 10 computer version of it, and I'll put it on my, I'll do a video about it on YouTube, and no strings attached, So that's what I did. And we've reached critical mass now at DriveBender. So I wanted to show you the way I go around and replace DriveBender with StableBit Drive Pool, and then what I use in place of all that statistical information that I had under DriveBender, what I use now to replace that. And it's a open source program that I use, and they accept donations. I highly recommend, if you decide to use this program, that you contribute something to this person's hard work, all their effort, because it's worth the money, as you'll see in the upcoming video. So I'm over on Zeus right now, and Zeus is a, well, let's find out what Zeus is. I believe it's a Ryzen 7. And yeah, it's a Ryzen 7 1700X at this time. It has 16 gig of RAM, and it has a GTX 1650 video card in there. That it's kind of a failover unit in the event that I need to archive some data and the Dell 710 is not available, that kind of thing. Currently, it's running DriveBender. So what I want to do is try and move off of DriveBender and onto DrivePool. And so we're going to try and do it together here. As you may not know, DriveBender has pretty much gone out of business. They've sold, or they're attempting to sell their product to anyone who will buy it. And although they're leaving the activation server online for the time being, my fear is it's going to go bye-bye. So I went ahead and put my money where my mouth is, and I've invested in a 10 user or 10 computer version of StableBit DrivePool. So what I'm going to attempt to do right now is remove the files that I don't need in this DrivePool to clear it up. And then I'm going to uninstall DriveBender and install DrivePool. Alright, so just a little clarification. I had the best intentions of showing you how I had planned to migrate from DriveBender to StableBit DrivePool. But I did need some data off of this DrivePool, and one of those folders being the export folders. I wanted to keep all that data. So in my brilliance, I just, uninstalled DriveBender, deleted the data off that DrivePool I didn't need, and tried to install StableBit and have it just read the data. It didn't work out quite that way. And in hindsight, I realized where my error was made, but I'll cover that on another video. But I just want to be clear, I ended up backing up all the data off of here onto my Dell 710. And then once I got StableBit DrivePool back up and running, or on its feet, I then copied the data back into the new DrivePool and was able to retrieve it that way. So I just wanted to clear that up on this video as you're watching me go through these trials and tribulations to try and figure out how to get this to work. Alright, so now we have the data moved off of this system that we need to save. Remember, this is not about converting to StableBit DrivePool from DriveBender. It's about backing up and restoring your data, and I think that's really the only safe way to do it. So now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go into disk management, and all of those disks that I used in the DriveBender DrivePool, I'm now going to format. I'm going to leave the name the same, keep it at NTFS, default allocation unit size, perform a quick format, and then OK. You'll get another warning. Click on that. Then it should format the volume. Same way with the next one. Accept the defaults. The next thing we're going to do is go to the settings and go to apps, and we're going to go to, let's see here, we're going to find DriveBender right here, and we're going to uninstall it. Now just be aware, when you uninstall DriveBender, you will have to reboot the computer, and so we're going to tell it yes, and we'll come back once it's rebooted. Alright, so now we're back after the reboot, so I'm going to go find the application. Let's see, it's under StableBit, and then DrivePool. It says sort by date. Other way. There we go. This is the one we want to install. We'll go ahead and run. Agree to the license terms and install. Close. And then the next thing you'll need to do is get a license. So you click on that and it'll ask for your license key, or you click on this button here, you can start your 30-day trial. Now I'm going to go ahead and put my license key in here and activate it, because this is my first install of this software. It'll tell me the license is activated. And then voila, we have the StableBit drive pool interface. All right, so for whatever reason, DriveBender kind of pooped out on me. And it did notify me there was a new version, and that's odd because I just downloaded this version probably a week or two ago. Well, anyway, the point is, DriveBender tried to add the drive. It got to 97% and then said it completed, but it showed the drive sitting there alone and not part of the pool. And I tried to add it again, and no go. It says it's already a member of a pool. So I went through some iterations, restarted the service, restarted the server. Still, every time I tried to add the drive to a new pool, it would tell me it was already a member. And then I got a notification there was an update. So I went out, downloaded the update, and as you can see, it's now working. And this is version 2.3.3.1505. So now it sees my first drive. I don't know if you can name this. You can give it a drive letter, but I don't know that you can give it a name. Let's now add drives 2, which should go pretty quickly. Drive 3. And drive 4, or drive 3, depending on how you look at it, to the array. And now we have a 9 terabyte drive pool drive array. Now, I was talking to you earlier about duplication, or file protection as they call it. So you can use either pool file duplication or folder. So if I were to choose folder duplication, I would see any folders that were under here. I don't, because those have all been moved. So I'm going to go ahead and copy those files and folders back from, I want to make sure we're still connected to backups. And there they are. So I want to copy everything from here back to this server. So we're going to go use Total Commander. And we're going to copy everything from backups to drive pool. And we'll call this folder exports, because I do want them also copied here. This is their backup location. So I just come over here, select them all, drag and drop, and let it run. And it's going to take as long as it's going to take. I'm going to put that in the background, minimize that. Bring this to the foreground and run Task Manager so you can get an idea of the kind of performance we get on the system. And we'll just let that run. And when it's done, we'll come back and we'll check our results. All right, so it appears that the copy has completed. So now we have our data back from our exports folder. Oh, and we picked up the dump image from my Proxmox server, so we can just delete that from our collection here. And then, so here are all of our exported virtual machines for Hyper-V, should we need them. So now if we come into the Manage Pool area and do File or Folder Protection or Duplication, we can now select one of these folders to duplicate, or the root of all the folders, which is exports, and we could click on Change Duplication and Enable. And then we can also further protect my files from more than one drive failure at a time now. What that does is it spreads the files out amongst more than one drive. However, they're going to consume more space. They take up twice the amount of disk space as non-duplicated. But as a result, it tells you right here, you can choose to protect your files from more than one drive failure at a time. So we can have one drive failure and that's it. But as a result, each file will take up that much more disk space if we enable the protect the files. So bear that in mind. I'm just going to cancel here, but I think you get the idea. And by now you should have the epiphany of, wow, this is a really good way to mirror files and folders without mirroring the entire drive. So this StableBit drive pool that I purchased was a 10 PC version, and it cost me $159 or $149. StableBit is not sponsoring this video in any way, shape, or form, but I just wanted you to be aware of what I paid. I went ahead and got 10 licenses. That way I can easily deactivate them on a machine, reactivate them on another machine. It just gives me a lot of flexibility with my labs. The other program I want to turn you on to is, well, first I have to get to the folder and go to Crystal Disk Info. So I encourage you, Crystal Disk Info, just type it into the Googles. It'll take you to their website. It's a patron-supported guy that writes this program. It's really slick, as you'll see here as we install it. And go ahead and contribute to his cause. I threw some money his way. I think it's only fair. He made this is a great product, as you'll see here in a second. But he is also not sponsoring the video, or she, or whoever they are. I'm going to go ahead and close StableBit Drive Pool, because what this allows you to do is check into the status of all your drives. So if you come up here to disk, you'll see I have my boot SSD. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 spinning Rust hard drives, a 2 terabyte, a 4 terabyte, 2 terabyte, and a 2 terabyte. And then I can also, so I can get all the information on the drive, who the manufacturer is, the interface, the transfer mode, and the smart warnings and smart attributes. It also gives me a health status of the drive. Tells me how many times the drive's been powered on and how many hours it's been powered on. You can see just a wealth of information. I go through every single disk. Now, normally you pay something like $50 for a product like this from StableBit. They make a product like this. Now, in their defense, it does a bit more than this does, but basically it's smart statistics on a drive. It gives you a button click. So you can either pay them, or you can pay this guy a reasonable, fair amount of money, whatever you two decide between yourselves, and you can help him grow this program and keep it running. And you can just see the wealth of information you get on these drives. For example, this drive is a 7200 RPM drive. This one's only a 5900 RPM drive. That's going to affect your transfer speeds, and you need to know this. When you put mismatched drives together, you just need to be aware. And plus, you want to know how long this drive has been used. So if you just hover over it like I'm doing now, it tells you. So it's a good way to keep an eye out for failures that might be starting to creep in on some of these drives. And you're helping a guy who writes a fantastic piece of software that helps us all keep an eye on our drives, and you're helping to grow the open source community. I think it's a good thing. So there you go, folks. Be prepared if you're going to do this and you have data on that array that you can't lose, like I did. I had some data I didn't want to lose. You're going to have to move that data off of your drive array. Now, there are some methods out there on the internet on how to do this without having to reinstall or without having to copy your data, back it up, and restore it. I didn't know that I trusted any of those methods. That's why I didn't mention them or put links to them. But if you do a Google search, you'll find some articles out there, and they're quite old. Some of them are back from, I think, 2015, so 8-9 years ago. So use them at your own risk. I think the safest way to do this is move the data off make your new drive array and move the data back. And kudos to the folks at StableBit for making a product that I really enjoy using. It's a little different on its interface getting around, but once you get the hang of it, it's a very simple interface. And the beauty of something like StableBit Drive Pool is instead of mirroring the whole drive, which wastes a whole drive of space, you can either mirror individual files or folders. It's even better. So say that I have some family photos, that this is my archival unit, but I want an additional copy of those photos like on another drive as well. I can just tell it to go out and mirror that directory, and StableBit will take care of everything for me in the background so that I don't have to worry about it. And keep in mind, again, this is not a backup solution. This has no redundancy. You know, it's good for archival purposes for what I'm using it for, but ultimately you should have a couple of different copies of your data and an offsite copy just to be safe. But anyway, there you go. So I'm officially weaning myself off of DriveBender. I can't tell you what to do if you're using DriveBender, but I don't know how much longer that he's going to have that server up. He hasn't indicated anything to me. He's taking it down. I'm not privy to any of that knowledge, but you know, I wouldn't keep my bets out that DriveBender is going to stay around forever. So better safe than sorry, as they say. So anyway, we hope you found this video entertaining and informative. As always, please give us a thumbs up down below. Subscribe if you're not already a subscriber, and click that notification bell to be notified of new videos when they come out. We accept your donations at PayPal, Patreon, and the YouTube Join function, or just become a YouTube Premium member, and we all get a cut of that. All of us YouTube creators get a little slice of that pie, as they say. And kudos going out to Jamie for our new intros. As you've seen, we had some copyright issues with YouTube. So anyway, thanks again for coming to see us, and please don't forget, we'll see all of you on the other side.